Thank you.
Sure, I understand, and we appreciate that you've taken some time out to join us. So that's Director Designate Crystal from Kiwanis Club of Montego Bay. Anybody else from Division 25? If not 25, let's move to 24.
Before you leave 25,
DLG Joe, go ahead.
I am DLG Joe from the Kiwanis Club of Hopewell. I seem to be alone, but thank God I'm not lonely.
You're never alone when you're with Kiwanis Club of Kingston.
A good one, Joe. Good one.
Yes. Just want to wish you a very productive meeting, and wish you best for the upcoming Kiwanis year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, DLG Joe, all the way from Hopewell, Hanover. So we're now moving to 23 West. On a wet and cool evening in Kingston. I'm not sure how it is in Western and Eastern Jamaica, but Kingston is for once very cold or cool and wet for the most part. 23 West, no club from 23 West. Let's go to 23 East. Any clubs from 23 East joining us? Okay, let's move to 23 Central. Oh, sorry, go ahead. I think I see DLG Girthlin. Go ahead, you have the floor.
Great to join your meeting. Looking forward to what is going to be said. But bring you greetings from the Kiwanis Club of New Kingston. We wish you all that is good in the weeks leading up to the new administration. I'm sure you're looking forward to the start of the year you will serve. And I notice we have at least 8 members on.
8.
8 members that I have seen. I don't know if any more are on. So thank you for having us.
Right.
This is DLG Girthlin.
Thank you, DLG Girthlin. And welcome to you and all of the members of Kiwanis Club of New Kingston, our sister club. We appreciate your attendance. And
thank you.
As always, I was going to say, please remember that even though it's a Zoom meeting, we'd like it to be as interactive as possible. So where possible, please utilize the chat feature with reactions and comments and questions, especially around our presentation or any part of the program. Feel free to put it in the chat so everybody can see. So with New Kingston, we're still in Division 23. We're now in 23 Central. Is there any other Kiwanian club that's joining us? I see a lot of people here. And, you know, I guess as people get home, they're joining the meeting. But can you please quickly identify your club and where you're joining us from? Kiwanian Chris, I see you. Thank you for coming out. 23 Central, Dr. Eurydice, would you like to send your greetings or acknowledge your delegation?
I apologize. Hi, good evening, peace.
Good evening.
Yes, I was just scanning the landscape.
Sure.
But at this point, I'm only seeing my reflection. And well, I'm pretty sure that others will join soon.
I'm sure.
Yes, they're just caught in traffic.
Okay.
But in the interim, I look forward to this meeting and thank you so much for the invite. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Dr. Eurydice is from 23 Central Surrey Online for those non-Kiwanians. Yes. 23 Surrey Central Online.
23 Central Surrey Online.
Yes. CSO.
Yes.
Got it. Any other clubs joining us? I see KCOB. Would you like to introduce your delegation before we close off on the introductions?
Good afternoon, PDC.
Good afternoon, yes.
This is President Clover from the Kiwanis Club of Capital City, Kingston. Thank you and the members of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston for hosting us. We really appreciate the invitation. And the topic is quite interesting. With me, have 8 other members, and we're looking for others to join.
Right, and please put the members in the chat as they come along. Thank you very much, President Clover. That's Kingston, Capital City Kingston, Kiwanis Club of Capital City Kingston joining us. So thank you again for your presence. DP Paul, all the way from Japan, thank you for your presence. I see you, DP Earl Spencer, and others. Anybody else would like to introduce themselves? So just a quick roundup. We have joining us Kiwanis Club of Montego Bay, Hopewell Hanover, New Kingston, 23 Central Surrey Online, and Capital City Kingston. If you haven't heard your club being mentioned, now is the time to introduce them. And if you're a visitor or a guest, a non-Kiwanian, you could also introduce yourself. So we have a kind of tally of who is here this evening and who is joining us. The topic, as you may have heard before, is the impact of artificial intelligence. I'm sure Mr. Reckord will talk about why it got the name artificial intelligence as compared to, I'm assuming humans have real intelligence, but machines and computers have artificial intelligence. But it's interesting times that we live in, and hopefully we can get an idea of what the future will look like, you know, under this new regime. More and more artificial intelligence is becoming the norm. A lot of people probably don't, who use WhatsApp will notice that Meta is now a feature on WhatsApp. So that is a form of artificial intelligence. And if you use Siri or Google at all, Google Audio, you're already utilizing AI technology. So it's very much a part of our lives, and we have to learn to understand it and embrace it to a certain extent to be able to operate efficiently. So if there's no other Kiwanians or no other guests, President Newton, I'm going to hand the microphone back to you, and welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening, and I hope that you learned something and have a interesting and entertaining evening here with Kiwanis Club of Kingston.
Thank you. Thank you, PD Stephen. Thanks as usual. Okay, so at this point, we're going to go straight into apologies for absence. And the first person one I know of is PDT Ralston. I know sent in apologies. I think he's at another Kiwanis function. I don't know, Secretary Willie, do you have any other person who has tendered their apology?
Yes, we have an apology from DP Chris. It's actually a club coach seminar being held at 7 o'clock this evening. But in addition to that, we actually have Orville Lewis, who's in Cayman at this time, and a special mention of DP Lloyd Barnett, who I've been in touch with again. He won't be returning home for another 6 weeks, but he's still convalescing, so he'll be there for a little longer, but he sends his regards to all the members of the club. That's it.
Okay, and we wish him all the best and an early return to the island at full strength. Thank you, DLG. All right, and so we're going to go straight back to PD Stephen with birthdays and anniversaries and special occasions. So PD Stephen.
Yes, President Newton. You know, I was going through the records, and for this week, I'm not able to find any Kiwanian member, Kingston member, who has a birthday or a special celebration this week. That is the week of September 10th to September 17th. So I'll just take the opportunity to ask if there's any of them, the 45 members of guests and participants who are on the call this evening, if anybody is celebrating a birthday or anniversary this week that they'd like to share with us. Can't promise that we will sing happy birthday, but we will send you warm greetings. All right. Even after that invitation, there are no takers. So President Newton, back to you. No birthdays or anniversaries this week. I tried my best.
I believe they promised to probably sing happy birthday scared. I heard somebody clear their throat, but when I heard you were going to sing happy birthday, I think it scared them off. Thank you, President Designate Stephen. Great. All right. So right now we're going to move straight back to DLG Willie, who will bring forth this evening Kiwanis education. And for those who are online with us for the first time, one of the things that we never pass up is an opportunity to tell you a little nugget about what Kiwanis is all about and why we do what we do. So listen carefully as DLG Willie brings us now Kiwanis education. DLG Willie.
Thank you, President Newton. This evening, I selected a topic called for Kiwanis education called engaging and retaining members. This is quite important at this time, as we're not only looking at our total membership and looking at recruitment of new members for the new administration. New member orientation. Now, this is important for those new members that we bring in. New members need to feel valued and appreciated from day one. It is best to begin new member orientation before a prospective member joins, so they understand the vision of the club and the responsibilities of membership. But it needs to be completed within 2 weeks after joining. Orientation is an opportunity to help new members understand their Kiwanis club and is a way for their club to learn about their interests and skills. To this end, an orientation guide is available to anybody who wants to download it at kiwanis.org/new member orientation. A little bit on about mentoring. By pairing new members with mentors, you're giving them a go-to person for any questions and a familiar face to sit with at meetings until they feel comfortable interacting with everyone. Their mentor may be their sponsor or someone they just met. Mentors can help new members connect their interests with club activities. A little bit on new member or involvement. Once a new member is ready, it's time to get that person involved. Show them they're needed. Assigning new members to committees can help engage their talents and interests. And by giving them a simple task connected to a meeting or project, they immediately feel like part of the team. Perhaps you can give them Kiwanis education to do. Expand their Kiwanis networking connection. Consider taking a new member to visit a nearby club's meeting or participate in their service project. Invite them to attend a divisional council meeting so they can meet more Kiwanians in their area. Make them feel comfortable so they are more likely to attend a district or international convention. Ask for their feedback. After new members are inducted, consider asking some of them to meet casually with board members. A new person's input can provide a different perspective. Questions you ask. What has the club done to make you feel welcome?
Yeah, Mr.
What made you decide to join the Kiwanis club? Was there anything that someone said or showed you that made you feel good about joining? What are you most excited about doing with your club? What are the ways in which you are passionate about serving your community? Sometimes you can feel a lack of energy when you walk into a room. If you describe your club, it's time to find out why. Start by surveying your members with a measuring member satisfaction tool. This is a simple way to give members a voice and to give club leaders the information they need to make meaningful change. To leave you with a tip, fellow Kiwanis, I'm going to leave you with a tip. If a member hasn't paid their dues, participated in a service project, or attended a meeting during the very first quarter, you need to find a way to get them re-engaged. Thank you. President Newton, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, DLG Willie, with some very good information about what it is that we do as Kiwanians, how we think, how we should think, and how we carry ourselves, why we do what we do. Thank you, DLG Willie. Okay. And we are at the point where everybody is waiting. Everybody is waiting for. This is where our guest speaker will bring us through this thing called artificial intelligence and how it will affect us in the future. I don't know if our guest speaker will go there, but I remember reading an article on artificial intelligence some time ago. And what the article said is that in the future, in the very near future, if human beings are to keep up with the machines and so, we will all have to become cyborgs, meaning we have to have part man, part machine with artificial intelligence implanted in us. As I say, I don't know what our guest speaker is going to be speaking about tonight, but I know whatever it is, we are all going to be rooted to him. So at this point, I'm going to ask DP Stewart to present to us our guest speaker. DP Stewart.
Okay, thank you, President Newton. Fellow Kiwanis and guests, it is my pleasure this evening to introduce our guest speaker.
The voice is low, Sue.
All right, let me just bring this down. Is this better?
That's better. That's better.
Okay,
Much better.
thank
Much
you.
better.
All right. Yes, fellow Kiwanis and guests, it's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker this evening, Christopher Reckord. He is a public speaker, an author, a consultant, and a facilitator. And I will tell you a little bit more about him. He describes himself as a technology entrepreneur. But outside of the technology part, he's also a wine enthusiast and a lifelong learner. So that means that he never stops learning. Chris is the co-author of a recently published book titled Successful Digital Transformation: Your World, Your Business, Your Life, Reimagined. And he has been an executive in cybersecurity and IT provider firms for over 30 years. He's currently the advisor and consultant, helping organizations grow and scale by implementing a customized business blueprint and transformation system. And also, he acts as a virtual CEO and virtual CTO, offering advisory services on business development, growth, and scaling with digital transformation. For public service, Chris serves on a number of boards and committees for businesses and the government of Jamaica, including the recently formed National Artificial Intelligence Task Force, where he serves as chairman, and the Data Protection Oversight Committee, DPOC, where he is also currently serving as the chairman. For fun, his love for the business of wine has seen him become the leading voice on the topic of wine in Jamaica, writing a weekly column for the Jamaica Observer for over 10 years and conducting regular wine education and entertainment events. In fact, he had to juggle his schedule because I think this evening he also had a wine event, but he made the time to be here because he made a commitment. And I am so happy that that Chris has been able to stick to his commitment, and we look forward to what he has to say. So if you could just open your mics and give a little welcome to our guest speaker. Chris, over to you. And I've made your co-host, Chris, so if you want to share your screen, you already have that privilege. Okay.
Thank you very, very, very much, Stuart. Thank you very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for inviting me, Stephen. Folks, it's an interesting world that we're living in right now. And this artificial intelligence is just but one of the many technological bits of recent invention that will be, affecting us. So interestingly, President Newton, based upon how you guys refer to him, mentioned the thing about cyborg. And interestingly enough, not too sure if you can see the title of this book. It's called "The Singularity is Nearer When We Merge with AI." And the author of this book is Mr. Reckord, who is a futurist and has been talking about AI for decades. Because his last book, maybe about 15, 20 years ago was called The Singularity is Near. And this book that just came out last month is called The Singularity is Nearer. So I have put together a few slides based upon the discussions that I've had with the folks here, some of the folks here, and also just pulling from various presentations that I have done over the past year. I've been doing a fair amount of AI presentations, and I also, in my recent travels, picked up 2 magazines in the airport, and Harvard Business Review Special Edition, How to Thrive in a Gen AI World. Caught my eye. I was coming through the Miami International Airport last week, and then this month's Harvard Business Review, that was a special edition. The big title on the front of this one speaks about embracing Gen AI at work, and this is the September-October edition. So very interesting that both of the main Harvard magazines that are out this month and this quarter are all on the topic of artificial intelligence. So I will share my screen, and I hope everyone has the ability to see it when I share it. And whilst I do have several slides, President Newton or Stuart, DP Stuart,
sure.
I'm not sure if you typically do questions in between. I mean, I'm fine with whichever one, if anyone wants to put up their hand and ask a question while I'm going through, or if you want me to wait until the end.
Yes, we prefer if you wait until the end, and then we'll take the questions.
No problem at all. So let me grab my screen to share. I want to make sure that I'm sharing the right screen. I have a lot of screens in front of me. So please acknowledge when you see what I have up on the screen. Somebody can just tell me that they're seeing it. All right. The technology said participants can now see your screen.
Yes,
that's what the AI told me. So interestingly enough, this is the 3rd time I'm using these set of slides, although I modified them heavily between yesterday and today. But this, and I left the logo on the bottom right. It said made with Gamma, and when I used some of the slides to a group of teachers. We had a session with the Ministry of Education and teachers from a certain section of maybe about 50 to 80 teachers and principals last year, when we were going through this topic of AI, and I used the AI with them and demonstrated how we were able to, within a few minutes, create a whole set of slides for just a topic that someone randomly picked in the room. And it was fascinating that some folks, and it's always great to see the wide cross-section of experiences in the room, never use any of these tools yet, whilst there are some that, I mean, almost everything that they do every day is actually with some of these technologies. So this one, some of these slides were actually created with Gamma. And what I did, I just put in about AI and education, and it came up with its own set of topics, and it also came up with 15 slides. 3/4 of them I've deleted. I'm still using 1 and 2 of them. So let me just jump into definitions. And there's a very interesting thing happening in the AI ecosystem, and not just AI ecosystem, but the technology world right now, especially in academia, because there is a massive disagreement on what exactly is the definition for AI, right? And in their various conferences that they go and their academic documentation that they exchange, the term artificial intelligence is more or less a umbrella term, because there's a range of technologies that are automated or programmed that ever since generative Gen AI with the likes of ChatGPT came out, almost everything that's automatic is now being labeled as AI. So I'm saying that to say this, that a lot of what is called AI is not AI, right? or AI in the true sense of what the concept of AI was when it was first discussed in the 1950s. AI is not new. We are seeing a second or maybe a third generation of AI again. And there are those that predict that the hype cycle that we are in is going to go away and it's going to disappear for another 2-3 years. Nobody's going to talk about it. And then it's going to swell up again. Because this actually has happened in the past before, right? But a number of us have experiences with AI. If we use, whoever has a Netflix account and you watch 1 and 2, you select 1 and 2 movies that you like or 1 or 2 shows, and then it predicts or suggests shows for you to watch. What you will experiencing is the use of some sort of technology, which is roughly referred to as AI, that's making the choice for you based upon all the choices that you have had before. Because the technologies and tools can see what you selected, how long you watched it for, did you rewind, did you fast forward? It's gathering all that data, and it is ultimately trying to give you a better experience using the tools and technologies. So in general terms, AI or artificial intelligence is a simulation of human intelligence by machines. Simply put, that's it. It's just, and this was the initial concept of machine doing intelligent work came up in the 1950s, and it has been tweaked and massaged throughout the 50s, where a group of folks in some discussion at one of the top universities decided that they're going to call this thing artificial intelligence. That was not the initial term that they agreed upon. Matter of fact, just yesterday I found an article in MIT Technology Review magazine that spoke to the argument that the various let's call them the various researchers had in the whole idea and concept of coming up with the actual term. And so, I think one of the gentlemen said the word artificial makes you think there is something kind of phony going on in the background. So that was a Dartmouth representative at a conference that was happening in the 1950s around this topic of artificial intelligence. The idea and concept was that we are trying to program a machine to do some of the work that a human can do, but the technocrats of the day came up with a wide range of reasons why automation that was not really artificial, because it was programmed. And that debate went on for literally decades, right? So what we are experiencing and seeing now, as I say, is the second coming. I'm going to show you a little timeline of what happened over years. So we moved from early 1950s with the creation of this concept, late 1950s, where they started programming machine and setting them up to learn what we were doing. So in 1915, there's a gentleman by the name of Alan Turing that came up with this thing called the Turing test to determine that if a computer could give you a response to something that you asked and you thought it was a human, then chances are artificial intelligence has now been achieved. There have been many, many folks that said the Turing test doesn't make any sense anymore, because you could be interacting with technology and have no idea that it's a technology versus a human. So we have long passed that. While there are others that said no, in the fullness understanding of what intelligence is, we have not touched it as yet. So that debate continues. Our experience with using technology is totally different. So moving to 2017, this concept of deep learning came about. Now, notice the difference between 1959, 1960, and then 2017. It's decades, right? During that time, there was a moment when if you mentioned the word AI, nobody wanted to talk to you. Everybody thought you were mad, right? Because so much hype was around it in the 60s, so much hype in academia world, so much hype in the 70s. And then with all the investment that AI received at the time, it did not produce all the promise, right? And then in one of the books that I read a couple of months ago called AI Superpowers by a guy called Kai-Fu Lee, out of China. There's this discussion about the winter of AI, which lasted several, many years. And what happened recently, why all of a sudden we're now talking about AI again? The absolute main thing was horsepower. One, the technology is now there to move the programming at a speed. One, two, we have the internet. And guess what we're all doing, ladies and gentlemen, on the internet? We're giving away almost all our information for free. We just put stuff out on social media. We talk things on YouTube. We are dumping information into the internet, and the creators of all these learning languages and machine learning languages and large language models and all of these various versions of things that we just wrap up and call AI now is sucking in all this data. So now they have data, and then they have the computing power, and then there's cloud and all of this technology that's out there that all of a sudden the promise of AI that they tried to get back in the 70s and 80s. By the way, for folks, I have some good friends of mine that did their degrees 30 years ago in AI, and they've said to me, Chris, nothing has changed. It's the same technology in the background, but we didn't have access to the data, and we didn't have access to the tools and technology that is here now, right? Nothing must have changed. So sometimes we all believe that, oh my, this thing is new. It's not new. It's been going on for a while. So the main difference that has happened right now in 2021, coming up 2022, when ChatGPT was upon us, is this concept of generative AI. So when almost every one of us mention the term AI and talk about AI, we're really and truly talking about generative AI. And what it is, not going to get into any deep technical discussions here, but the main thing is that the processing power is now able to do all of these mathematical calculations, because what is really happening is a whole pile of math that's happening around prediction. What is the next word that should happen after this word? So I've sat with data scientists and AI scientists. We do have 1 and 2 on the National AI Task Force. And when those guys are explaining AI, let me tell you something, they get very deep and they get into the nitty-gritty of how the prediction happens. So it's really truly a prediction engine that we're using, and the experience with it, we think it's intelligent, but it's literally predicting what we are gonna say, predicting what it should respond based upon what was said. Why? Because it has the companies that have made the investment, they have literally trained the tools and technologies on every single solitary bit of data that humanity has produced that's in the public, right? Which is a lot. Because for those of us who have had Encyclopedia Britannicas and all that kind of stuff, every single solitary bit of that has been used to train the systems. And of course, we all know, for those of us who use the internet a lot, Wikipedia came along and took away Britannica and all the various other encyclopedias that we had out there, and all of that has been absorbed in AI. Every single magazine that has ever been produced and ever been written, the Bible, every version of it, all has been absorbed in these AI tools and technologies, which is why we ask it these questions, it can generate back the type of response because of all the learning that happened before. So foundation, that's a little back of the definitions of very high level what artificial intelligence is, and a little bit of the history. Interesting enough, I was invited by the Insurance Association of Jamaica to speak about this history tomorrow morning. So when I was doing this preparation, it was like a double preparation, because I wanted me to talk about history, and there's actually going to be a panel discussion tomorrow at their annual session. So there's actually preparation almost for that. So this is another view of the history, right? Because why I'm sharing this view also is because of some of the words that were used at that time. Reactive AI in the 50s, limited memory AI in the 80s, the theory of mind AI, which is now. So getting a little academic, but this is some of the things that were discussed. Someone has their mic unmuted. I'm hearing some background noise.
Let me search for it.
No worries, good to go. So yes, and then now the worry and concern that a lot of people have is what's to come, right? The term that they use here in this image that I had put together is self-aware AI. What is being considered is actually real artificial intelligence that can be actually perform more like a human with some emotion and some sort of emotion intelligence, which a number of the folks that are out there don't want to see this happen, because they believe that this is now when things get right across the border, and we don't want to have this experience. There's lots and lots of people out there that are on two different sides of the fence, and as I said, the AI world is continuously up in arms around what's to come, what should come, and what we should be doing with this thing. So what's been out there? I kind of mentioned AI, Netflix and some of these other tools. So we've been experiencing a fair amount of the use of this technology, and AI has been affecting the world for decades, because a fair amount of technologies, every one of our smartphones that we use, and most people are using smartphones now, every one of our smartphones have some sort of artificial intelligence or some sort of a machine learning involved in there. When we press the button and say, Alexa, Siri, whatever the various prompts that we use, that there has to be some programming that we refer to as AI in there, receiving that information and turning that information back into a response. I don't know if the recording is on here, but if we had recording turned on, one of the things that Zoom allows is for us to also do a transcript, and then it will also pick up, based upon the level of subscription that you have, actually put the names as to who said what was the main point, what are the action items. So all of a sudden, for one or two of my meetings now that I'm having, we're not even, yes, a secretary is there, a recording secretary is there, but a lot of the subcommittee meetings, we're just using the technology, and the technology is producing solid enough meeting notes that we don't have to go back and listen to the recording at all. It tells us exactly what was important. So security and surveillance. My last job was as CEO of a company called T-Tech. T-Tech is a managed services organization, and one of the things that we do is provide cybersecurity. We have been using AI-based cybersecurity solutions for many years. Why? Because the bad actors, the criminals, are themselves very advanced with what's going on online. We may say that we are monitoring your environment 24/7. Yes, the technology and tools are. So what we had to do is upgrade our systems to have AI type intelligence in there, because it works 100 times faster than a human being. So it's able to notice a behavioral change with either people or with how you're using the technology to alert us to say, well, put it this way, it will alert us after it does what it does. It will shut down your machine. It will shut down your access to the internet. It will send us a note. It will send you a note. So it is programmed to all of that in the background, right? I won't call any names, but there was an attack on businesses in Jamaica that at least 10 companies that I know that had revealed themselves got caught, where persons within the organization clicked on the wrong button, and as such, their data got encrypted and it caused problems. Two of our customers that had this AI software, because of course AI software can cost a little bit more than the others, that had the AI technology built in, were not affected, because it was able to recognize what was going on. Someone in the company did click on the link, but because the speed of how the AI-enabled cybersecurity software worked, we're able to cut the access instantaneously, only causing downtime for a few minutes to that user versus the other companies that downtime went on for literally 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? So this is some of the experiences that I've been having in AI for, as I said, for several years out there. But again, we didn't term it as AI. It was mainly just the marketing language that company use has changed since the popularity of AI, right? The marketing language when we bought it, they just told us about advanced sensory. They use a lot of different words until ChatGPT came out. Then all of a sudden, all their marketing material switched, which by the way has happened in a lot of industries. People just adding on AI to everything, just to either bump up your stock price, improve how your product is looking to the market, or just whatever. So other things, navigation. I did a presentation up at university recently, and I said to asked hands up, who uses Google Maps or Apple Maps for going almost anywhere? And I was surprised with about 80% of the room putting up their hands. And I said, look at what happened. Kingston is relatively small. I mean, I used to live in South Florida, and everywhere I went was 45 minutes drive away. In Kingston, most places are 10, 15 minutes away, unless it's peak hour traffic. At the end of the day, it's a situation where the technology is making it so easy for us that we don't even want to bother think anymore, which is concern for some. Because me now, I was rushing out to one of my wine tastings to come back in time. I actually turned on my navigation to see what was the shortest no traffic way coming back. And mind you, I was able to leave halfway across Kingston and get back home in 7 minutes, while I know there are friends of mine that were still in traffic, because I'm using the AI-enabled tool. And how the AI-enabled tool works, it pulls data from every single solitary one of us. People wondering how mapping systems work. Every device that you have in your hand has trackers on there to know where you are, and it sees who's moving fast and who's moving slow. It pull all that information, and it allows us who are using the technology on the end to benefit. E-commerce, it's been in there recommending things in our Amazon box for a while, and of course, banking and financial sector. It has been used with the largest financial services sector companies in the world to predict stock prices based upon history, based upon what's happening in the market. Autonomous vehicles. I have my very good friend Kevin Reed in the States, and I'm putting on the hat. This company is called Beep, right? What he does in Orlando is operate autonomous vehicles. Orlando, Florida is one of the big states that a lot of people retire in, and so they have a lot of retirement communities. And so what they have is driverless buses that take people from the city center to their communities, and vice versa. Take them to the park, take them to the shops, take them to what? Yes, I've been in the autonomous car. So the AI is helping to drive that, and yes, it works. And of course, smart homes and all of that. So it's been in there and it's been working, and this is how it is globally touching our lives. And these are just a tiny amount of the examples. At the recent presentation with the Ministry of Education and some of the teachers, we spoke about applications of AI in education. I myself wrote a proposal to the administration around building a unique AI tool for us in Jamaica. To ultimately, my proposal was that every single solitary student in this country has their own personal teacher, which is majority has some sort of a smart device. Just imagine if this device knows your speed of learning, understands how you learn, because some of us are auditory, some of us will have to sit and we have to listen, some of us are both, some of us have to write it. It's all of these different modus of how we learn. Imagine if each of us had our own teacher that taught us in the way that we learn best. And oh, by the way, it knew where we were in the syllabus, it informed the teacher, and collaboratively, the school had an idea of where everyone was. So, that was a proposal. It's still up in discussion because there are tools and technologies out there in the world like that right now. So, Khan Academy, they've developed in association with OpenAI, with ChatGPT developers, something called Canmigo. I think it's Canmigo or Canamigo. I think it's Canmigo, where it does exactly that. You go on, you tell it what you want to learn, and then you tell it, it does a test to gauge and see how advanced you are. And then based upon that, it spoon feeds you the information based upon your pace. And it's amazing. I mean, I've friends and family members who are using the technology, and life as we know it is slowly changing. But at the end of the day, there's a slide that I actually deleted, and you may have seen the meme around where, who wants change? Everybody put up their hand. Who wants to change? Everybody put down their hand. And that's something that all of us as business people have to grapple with. One of the big risks and challenges with AI and the use of AI is around ethical considerations. This example here was specifically for schools, as it relates to the ethical dimensions, includes concerns about data privacy, intellectual property rights, and ethical use of AI in academic setting. Now, in real world setting, it's the same situation. We have, Jamaica's, I refer to Jamaica as a cultural superpower. Jamaica influences the world. I mean, I've traveled on a few continents, and when you just mention the word Jamaica, let me tell you something. The amount of wine that I've gotten free in France, just because I sit down and start talk to them about Jamaica, it's mind-blowing. And when people start to copy our nuance around our music and poetry and all of that, and AI is now reproducing it, it's a problem. Because with the large language models and the learning systems, it is a continuous improvement. And oh, by the way, one of the big challenges with AI right now is that, especially with what they call neural networks, because by the way, one of the things that had happened in the early development of AI, it was a lot of pre-programmed and machine learning, right? And what was happening is that you almost had to write a program to put in the system for every single solitary eventuality. So that was one arm and one school of thought around how AI should be developed. The other school of thought, which nobody supported, was called neural networks, which is mimicking the brain, right? Which is why I had to make sure that I found a image that actually had a brain on it, which was mimicking the brain, because our neural network up there. So they had to start building something like a neural network. And what has happened, one of the problems with this is that this requires a tremendous amount of computing power. But fast forward to 2018, 2019 coming up, we had the computing power, and all of a sudden, neural network technology for AI outpassed every other technology in there. But there is a catch. The experts actually don't know how the technology is actually learning what we're teaching it, because it actually is going and learning more and more and more, because once the technology is connected to the internet, it's just sucking everything that it can see, right? Which is why when ChatGPT came out initially, it was disconnected from the internet for a period, which when they introduced it to us, it was only up to, I think it was September 2019. There was some date that they put in the systems but with the new version that they have now, it's reconnected to the internet and it's pulling everything that we can pull. So one of the challenges is your team member at your office feeding your company's personal information into this OpenAI system that is now giving him back amazing answers, helping him with his work. But so I was trying to buy this a business just last year, and I kept asking, trying to figure out who were owners of this business. And I just decided I was going to just ask one of the AI tools out there, because there are many, by the way. You have Claude, everybody knows ChatGPT, there's Microsoft OpenAI, there's at least 10, 15, 20 that doing various different things. And I decided to ask one, who's the owner of this company in Kingston, Jamaica, address of the business, everything, and woof, I got all the information, all the owners' names, the percentage shareholdings and everything. And I was like, wow, wonder how this got into internet system somewhere. I do not know because it's not on their website, right? But we have to be, careful as to what we are doing and where we are putting our information as it relates to the use of these AI tools. So jumping from the world at large quickly to our business, some of the big benefits, yes, efficiency and productivity gains, I shared some of that already, improves speed of business. I have an association with an organization called the Tech Beach Group. And one of the things with that group, it's operated by two friends of mine, Kyle Maloney out of Barbados and Kirk Anthony Hamilton out of Kingston, Jamaica. And they have, what they sought to do is bring together the diaspora from all over the world once a year here in Jamaica, and we sit down and exchange ideas. And there was one gentleman that he sat me down last year at last year's event, and he showed me how he created a complete staff by training and naming different AI chats that he had that he had. So he opens different chat questions and he trains at this one. This is marketing manager, and he gives the name. This is Heather, and he trains the other one, and this is his PR assistant. This is John, and he trains like 5 staff members, and then he introduces all of them to each other, and then he creates an org chart and shares with them, and then they all respond. When he gets up in the morning and he says, all right, guys, what's on the agenda for today? This one will respond. It's like he's almost talking to people, right? I mean, when he showed the presentation to us in the room, trust me, everybody's mouth was on the floor, right? And I've shared it with a few people since, and people have gone and experimented with it, and it works. So you can create your own little world around you to improve the speed of your business by creating that team around you. So I do have my AI assistant. I have an admin assistant that just helps with writing. So one of the things I'm actually now doing is I've written about 600 articles for the Observer over the last 11 years. And I've pulled out some of them and I've been dumping them in the AI tool to come back and help me create a short book, right? And so this book that we wrote, that myself and my business partner wrote, Successful Digital Transformation, was during COVID, when we just kind of started to share what needs to be done with digital transformation. And then when ChatGPT came out, we kind of said, you think we should? You think we should try to get the AI to rewrite the book? And we experimented with 2 chapters. And we abandoned the idea because although the writing was immaculate, it wasn't us. We didn't have that feel. So sometimes you can think you're improving and it's better quality, but it's really and truly not, because it's not you. Your voice is not heard. So what I help with my children, I have 2 daughters, 19 and 17. I said to them, look, use the tool, but here's how you should use the tool. You use the tool as an executive assistant to help you with things. Don't use the tool to do all the work for you and you walk away from it. You have to have your input, right? So very high level, as I said, the top 6 areas here: better customer service. A lot of people are now using the AI tools, especially the chatbots, to train it on how the customers, how the business's processes work, and then training it on answering those queries when a customer just comes to the website and asks a question. Most of us, with most of the big companies in North America, when they're using their tools and technologies and we're communicating with the company, we're not talking to a person. Last week, a voice called me, and as the voice started, I realized that this is AI. And I decided to play along, and I was just going through, because I went online, I downloaded a white paper, and in order to download the white paper, I had to put in my name and my phone number and everything to get the white paper. And then the voice bot was calling me to offer me an additional service if I wanted to attend an event. And we had invited you and you didn't come. Why didn't you come? But he was talking to me, and I just smiled to myself. I said, all right, we're moving on to a next level that I don't think people understand. So these are some of the risks that come along with it: misinformation. So we may have heard this word called hallucinations, and this is because the technology has been learning a lot of things. And if you ask it a question that it doesn't know, it is not used to not saying that I don't know. So what it has to do is pull information that near so, Jamaican to give it a go say it near so. So it does the near so thing and it gives you information near so. Well, this hallucination thing has caused people to go to jail. It has caused lawyers to be disbarred because in a recent case that went very public, it made up some cases. The folks carried the cases to court, but of course, when I reached court and they did their checks, they were like, but not no go so. So the cases, how they were trying to use those cases to justify a certain judgment, got thrown out and they got disbarred because it was all lies. So yes, there's a bunch of risk. Intellectual property infringement, that is obvious. Privacy concerns, very, very obvious. Manipulation and impersonation. No, remember, all of this stuff is trained. So if you're ever going to use AI for your own company and all of that, if you're going to use the public AI is one thing, if you're going to create your own AI is another thing, because you now have to train it with lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of data. So one of the things that we did recently with let me see if I can turn off my blurring background. One of the things we did recently is when I wrote the book, myself and my partner decided to experiment when ChatGPT happened, and they came up with a new version. Is that we uploaded our entire book and we actually created our own agent, and we were able to talk to our book and ask it questions and all of that. So we kind of knew when it was hallucinating, but we were able to share that with folks to say, okay, you want to ask some questions? I'm not able to come to that presentation, but go ahead and ask the book the questions and the book will respond. So those are just some of the things that you can play around with it. But of course, there's sometimes unintended consequences that we just don't plan for yet. But that's a risk we take when we decide to go on the edge of these technological tools. So just moving through, if you decide to do any kind of implementation of AI in your business, for the business, because a lot of people are using AI, but a lot of people are using it on an individual basis where they're using it as just that assistant. But if you're now going to put AI in your organization, and by the way, a number of organizations in Jamaica do have AI tools and technologies already in there. There are some questions and to consider, and there are some routes you can take, right? So one of the magazines I had showed to you that I bought in the airport, I pulled out some stuff from one of the articles, right? And it spoke about, one of the articles was from existential threat to competitive advantage. That was the essence of the article. And it said, look, for a business, you can take a look at 3 different levels, right? Leveraging AI using one of the existing tools that are there. So that's a public available tool where you just literally use it as I mentioned before, admin. Just throw in questions, get answers, and then produce that and give it to customers. I was in a board meeting. I sit on a number of boards, and I was in a board meeting recently, and a report was presented, and I'm reading the report, and the report had just no soul. It was a report on the last quarter's activities. And I just said to the person presenting it, I said, this was written by ChatGPT. And of course, the person's face went a little red. And say, yeah. I said, dude, look, you have to put in a little bit of yourself in this thing, man. Because I have used the tool for the last 3 years very regularly. As I see something written by the AI tool, there are certain words that it uses over and over again, and its sentence structures are a certain way. I'm like, no. Come, you need to, I'm okay with you using the tool to come up with the structure of what you want to talk about, but you have to put in the nuance. You have to put in some of your gumption in there. You have to put in some of yourself in there. So that's now moving to customize the tools, right? Where you can, as I said, I created a chatbot just by uploading all 80-odd pages of my book in the tool and going through and prompting it with certain things and then setting that up as a link where I could share it with people. And then now you can create your own tool so for example, Microsoft allows you to buy an enterprise version of Copilot, which is their version of ChatGPT, because they've invested billions in ChatGPT. They have built this for them. So you can buy your own version of Copilot on your own premise in your own server. So it is ring-fenced from the rest of the internet, and then you can now go to town and do your thing. So questions you need to ask if you're considering doing all of this. 2 questions I put here, which came out of the articles. How much of your current offering can be replaced by generative AI? Now, I put the word generative AI for a reason, because that is the type of AI we're talking about, not the pre-programmed or machine learning type, which is a little bit different. But as I said, nowadays, we're calling everything AI. But generative AI, how much of your current offerings can be replaced by Gen AI, right? Very, very important. And once you answer that and you figure that out, and then, of course, you have to now look to say, okay, can you improve your competitive position using generative AI? Why this is important is because if you're using public tools, everyone also has access to the public tools. So what different are you going to do? What different are you going to integrate? Or are you going to ring fence it and then use your own data from your organization to enable your tool to interface with your customer or to interface with your staff, right? Massively important. So it's so I mean, at a high level, some of these are the things I wanted to just go through. I do have a few more, quick, like this one last slide here that I just had talking about on the social side, on the softer side of things, because there's massive concern with the risk of people losing their jobs, and this thing is going to take over. But on the Deloitte, so Deloitte make some very great articles. I subscribe to their insights, and I think it's once a quarter, maybe once a month. I need to look back to see they come out with some of these very interesting reports and research that they have done. And I saw this one and I said, select AI applications that can support the social side of work, amplifying emotional intelligence through AI simulations, personal upskilling, and networking. I gave you an example of that using the Khan Academy in terms of training, learning how you learn, and then helping you back on that path. Understanding customers better and providing superior customer support. AI does that well. And by the way, this is actually a discussion connected to our BPO sector. It's a discussion that we have at our National AI Task Force meeting, which I had one yesterday, have one tomorrow, and I have another one tomorrow afternoon, have another one to finalize our final report to the minister, which we talk about a lot of the things that we're talking about here, but making recommendations for what the government policy is supposed to be. Fostering inclusive work environment, leveraging informal networks to drive change and management and innovation. Because again, if it is trained properly on the data and the organization, it can pick out little small nuances that you didn't see happening and small trends, and inform and educate you about those trends so you can go on and manage the business a lot better. So closing remarks, a slide that I use for my digital transformation presentations. I am on the side of positive. I am not, one of the doomsday people that are on the negative side, right? So I put this in every presentation that I do, that the technology, and I put technology as general. Technology converts scarcity into abundance. And this requires, I can come into whoever's company and have a discussion about this independently, but this is real, and there are people that understand this. I'm actually helping a company right now to implement some of these exponential technologies, I'll use them, I'll call it, to turn their it's a legal data privacy business into a bigger business than the few people that are there. So I mentioned exponential organization. This is a very, very interesting book here in the middle. It was a research done by 100 unicorns, companies that have grown super fast, and they have found the 11 things that all of these companies have. And if you implement just 5 of them in your company, you can start to see massive growth, but there has to be tremendous discipline. So very high level, these are some of the books that I had read prior to, well, I wrote one, but I read a lot of some of these books, and I pulled information from them to just, this is the last 2 years of reading. Scary Smart, Mogao, that very interesting, Kai-Fu Lee. I wanted to get a non-American view, because a lot of the things I read is just the American machinery is just in your ears with their PR and their whole world. But Kai-Fu Lee gave a very interesting perspective on China, where Asia is, and so I really like that book a lot. Augmented Workforce, Alignment Problem. Alignment Problem came very highly recommended by one of the top Google persons who came here to Jamaica for that event I told you about, called Tech Beach. And so I actually hosted a panel with OpenAI, with Google, and with NVIDIA. NVIDIA is NVIDIA is a $2 trillion company that most people never heard of. They make the chips, they make the horsepower that AI runs on. NVIDIA was a gaming machine chip. It made for video games, right? But an experiment was done, and they realized that that chip worked way better than an Intel and an AMD for the type of processing that fueled neural networks, that all of a sudden the sky was the limit for that whole business. So these are some of my high-level recommended readings that that you could screenshot or you can get. And yeah, that's my little quick. At first, I was told that I had 15 minutes. I said, I cannot talk about AI in 15 minutes. And then I was given half an hour, and then I was given a little bit more time. So I'll stop right here. And thank you very, 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 very much for this opportunity. And open for questions. And then I'm going to run off to another wine tasting.
Okay, thank you very much, Christopher. I have a question that I want to start with. And
yes.
Then, I mean, it's open to the floor.
Yes.
But I just want you to tell us, you know, because it struck me that if the AI tools are absorbing everything that's on the internet,
yes,
how does it tell truth from fiction?
Good question. So believe it or not, yes, so believe it or not, you can actually train it to double check and triple check the sources of what this person is saying. And then it will come back and say there's no fact tied to what that person is saying, and it can delete it. But initially, what was happening, and this is kind of a sad part if you kind of dig into it, they had thousands of people in factories literally going through a lot of this stuff and deleting what was wrong, and literally voting up and voting down what was right. I've read cases where the horror and the porn and the people, there are some horrible things that are happening in some parts of this world. I mean, people recording murders and chopping off people's heads, and it's that those things are in some corner of the internet that gets pulled up into these large language models, and people had to sit down there and look at those things and categorize them as to what they were. And so that is the type of training that happened in the early 2015, 2016 coming up until even today. Some of that training has to still be happening with people looking at the information and double checking. But the tools and technologies are now getting to the place to do it. So in this book that I had uploaded earlier, which is kind of one of the newest books out there on AI, The Singularity is Nearer, they talk about some of that training and some of that high-end responsiveness to that some of the AI tools can handle.
So that's a function then of whichever tool you actually use or purchase. Is that, I guess some are doing this. It's not everybody.
So guess what?
I mean,
right. So guess what's happening to us right now? Great question. You're right. Mm-hmm. There are some tools when they are released, and then the universities jump in and try to do certain things, and I realize that all of a sudden this thing is giving us a lot of spurious information. Let me tell you something. It is shut down immediately, right? There was a situation that happened with I don't remember if it was a Microsoft tool or a Google tool that came out, and somehow within a week the tool started to become very, very racist, and it was shut down immediately. So the market takes care of those things. Let me just say it that way.
Okay.
And by the way, so I hit about 20 of my slides, right? So let me just bring up this one here. Maybe there's regulations happening. So there are countries that have regulations going on, that when those things are developed, they have to go through certain tests. And if they don't pass those ethics tests, or those what they call explainability, because that's one of the requirements in AI. You have to explain where you get this from, how you come to this understanding, and how you come to this explanation. So there's some regulations going on. That's one of the things that my team, the National AI Task Force, is looking at right now, going through all of the policies that are happening worldwide already. We went through about 15 of them, and then look to see what should we adopt or recommend to Jamaica, to our government, that they should consider.
Okay, I don't see any hands up yet. I think everybody is just either they're just mesmerized.
Are them all asleep?
No, I know
I don't know. You know what happened? What time it is?
I don't see reaction to put up the hand. I don't know why it's not coming up on mine.
Okay.
But I'd love to take questions.
There's a hand up. There's a hand up. PD.
There's a hand up. But Bev, since you spoke first, I'll give you first, and then I'll take the one that actually used the hand up.
I'm still trying to find the handle. Anyway.
No, go ahead, man. I can hear
right. Listen now. I am very much interested in AI. How do I learn more about it? Do I teach myself? Are there courses? How do I get to know more?
All right. So short answer is every single major AI producer has tons of free courses. Guess what? They all wanted to use it, right? So also, if you go on websites like the major universities, by the way, MIT, Harvard, all of them are free AI courses. Stanford, I think, may have released some of their courses to be free. And then there is a website called Coursera. I have done a bunch of courses on Coursera in the past. Coursera has paid courses, free courses, and Google has a bunch of free courses around AI. So LinkedIn, I mean, long and short of it, there are so many free courses out there. Matter of fact, one presentation I did, I think this lady was very sorry that she asked me to send her, because every time I see a free course, I search for a LinkedIn handle and I send her the link again. I think she gave me the white flag the other day. All right, I surrender. Because she was saying she can't find any out there. I said they are everywhere. Start.
That one called Coursera. Could you spell that for me? I'm not sure.
How you spell it? Yeah.
Yeah. How you spell that?
I'm gonna look it up and drop it in the chat right here now.
Ask AI. Ask AI.
No. Hold on. No. You see, I share now my screen, and I share in the government private things, and when I say all the people. Okay, good.
All right.
I'm back to the screen. Yeah. So Coursera is yes. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You found it. So go ahead and tell us.
Not yet. I'm still searching.
Oh yeah. All right. I was wondering about Meta on WhatsApp.
Yes.
I have been having a lot of conversations. Really like talking to somebody.
Exactly.
And I found, and I've only twice have I ever found it gave me something that was incorrect.
Right.
That I was aware of. But generally speaking, so how would you rate it? Is that what are we getting when we use that particular one?
So the beauty with things like that is that they are continuously improving them, right? Are they like, the Don Gargan, the biggest and best? No, right? But they're continuously improving. When it came out, I asked it 2 questions, I said 2 things. And when I do presentation like this, especially like the one that I went and did for the teachers, I had to go through and experiment with Google's product, Facebook's product, Microsoft's product, OpenAI product, Claude. I asked everybody the same question. Then I compared and contrast. We had discussion and debate around it. So yes, I play around with it. It still has a little way to go. But hey, it's in your hand. It's there for free.
Yes.
And every now and then you want a quick definition for something, and you want to sound like the brightest guy in the room. Voila. It works.
Let's take this hand that's up.
I put in the link. Yes. Go ahead. Leng?
Okay. I can't make out your name so well.
Ashana.
Ashana, right.
Yeah, man.
Go
Ashana
ahead.
Leng. Go ahead.
That's good. Good night, everyone. I have a comment.
Yes.
A request. I'll start with the request because it's short. So, bigger the presentation, you know, please.
I will massage it so that I can share it.
Okay.
No, it's being recorded, you know.
All right.
It's actually gonna be on YouTube. So
Okay.
I'll put up I'll put it up. It's running now. It's live.
Okay.
So it's easy for me to just put it on our channel. So
But
I'll tell you what the channel is.
What I've learned is that AI is made to make our lives easier, right?
Yes.
And the easier way would be for him to send me.
I saw what you did there.
So that
I will. Okay, as I say, as I finish this, I have to run off to a wine tasting, and then I will tweak it at PDF it and send it to the team tomorrow.
No problem. Thank you. And my comment is, I'm definitely not asleep. My mouth has been open this entire time from your start, because you said that AI started from as early as the 1950s, and you grabbed me from that point, because I'm like, that is absolutely mad. Not even my granddad did born. I'm just it's so interesting to find out that it's just that it's an evolution. It just keeps changing and keeps improving. And I'm happy that you touched on the fact that there are persons who are fearing it, because I remember during the COVID time when, you know, the ChatGPT was just coming out and, you know, it's fresh. That was something that was being shared. A lot of negativity during that time, but especially that. And they're saying that you're not going to have any jobs. It's the rise of the time when the world is going to end and all of that. But I think I'm a little bit more comfortable now, especially now that you provided sources, not just like using AI to find out more about AI, but actual books that were written. And you specified that you wrote one and you never bother use the AI. Thank God. So I know it's definitely from you, and it will have some gumption and some soul quoting you here. Just to show you
I think we actually did a half a chapter just to have discussion and about it. Because we keep on saying, all right, tell us which one we wrote today, but nobody has told us yet. Guess what? I don't remember. I don't remember which one I wrote to it anyway. So
okay, thanks, Ashana. Okay, President Newton, you have your hands up.
I tell you something. I did not put my hand up. I think I'm so interested in this thing that my limbs are doing things that I never. This is just one of those that I'm going to have to go and watch again and again and again and buy at least 2 of those books.
Okay, do you want to do the extension now?
Oh, okay. It's now 8:33. Yes. Could I just quickly ask a member of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston to move for an extension of 10 minutes for us to complete our business here?
Okay.
So move. Can I have a seconder?
Between William and myself.
Okay, thank you. Back to you, DP Stewart.
All right. One little question, Christopher. In terms of like I downloaded ChatGPT. Is it BRP? I can't remember right now.
GPT, yes.
Right. But then I realized now that it was something that you had to pay for or subscribe to. So I'm just wondering, I didn't want to spend the money before I knew I got a better idea if it's something I'm gonna be able to use to can it generate some income for me, you know, before I start spending money. So
what business are you in? What business are you in?
Well,
what's your main 9 to 5?
You could say investments in one area, and but also in an aspect of the real estate.
Okay. Do you have to write any proposals to any customers?
No, not right now.
Okay. All right. You have to write emails to people?
Oh yes, from time to time.
Okay. So I mean, so the long and short of it is that go to OpenAI's website. Make sure don't just search on Google, because all kind of people create all kind of things that look like it's the right thing. Make sure just go to OpenAI and then download or don't even have to download it. Just access it online. Because when you say to download it, I'm a little nervous because I don't think you downloaded the right thing. OpenAI has a free version that most people use, right? You don't have to pay for anything. I pay, yes. I do have the paid version. I pay $20 a month. And the paid version allows me to do a few advanced things that most people that are out there using OpenAI, ChatGPT that they're using the free version. So you should be able to do most of what you want to do with the free version. Make sure you're using the right thing.
So when you say OpenAI, you mean ChatGPT, OpenAI?
So OpenAI is a company. OpenAI, one word. Let me go to the website and send it to everybody. Let me go to the website and send it to everybody. OpenAI.
Okay.
Hold on there. It's gonna send me my login, you know. How do I come out of this?
All right, just OpenAI.
Yes, OpenAI, one word. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. All right, getting close to wrapping it. No questions, no hands up. Anybody else? You have 5-10 seconds. Okay. No more. Tell me one more thing though. I was watching something on CNBC today, and they were talking with the CEO from this company, ServiceNow.
Yes.
And it seemed as if they really are into something really good. Do you know the company? Are you familiar with the company and what?
I'm familiar with the company, yes.
I just got the impression that you know, what they offered, but I guess they are dealing with corporate on a corporate level. But just in terms of their prospects, I was kind of interested if you thought it was something that is gonna grow.
Well, I mean, ServiceNow has been a service provider for its type of technology that it offers for a very long time. And so organizations, especially that are service-based, are leveraging AI tools heavily. I mean, I didn't use it in this diagram. Did I use one of them? Let me see if I use one of them. I asked the tool to draw diagrams for me. So a diagram that I wanted to use in the presentation, I just said, because in ChatGPT, they have something called DALL-E, which is a technology tool that does art and does drawings. So I said, please create a visual, please create a visual that does the following. And then it comes up with a version. I even say, okay, make it more Jamaican. Then it adds some Jamaica flags. And it's like literally within 1 second, I have a custom image that I wanted to use for another presentation that I'm doing. So these are the things that you're now able to do that I would normally have to call my graphics artist.
Yeah.
Not that she's out of work, but I mean, yes, we're using her a lot less now.
Okay, great.
So just one more question though. There are no rules or regulations on all of that? You know, is there any way you want to get into?
But he did say that governments are beginning to
governments are regulating globally.
Regulating.
Whatever you put in ChatGPT and ask it to do for you, it's going to do for you.
Okay.
Right? It's just gonna it's gonna do. You have to loosen up, open your mind, and just, sorry to say what I'm about to say, but pretend that it is God Almighty and just ask a question.
Practice. Have you used Meta on in WhatsApp, Bev? Have you been using it?
No, I'm just learning more about it now.
So you can use it. Just it shows up as a little circle. You just click on it, and you can carry on a WhatsApp conversation with them on anything you want. Just ask them whatever you want. So that's a good starting point.
Okay. Right now, I know I just use AI, like when you have meetings and it does the recording for you, and you go back over. I still have to change things.
Yes, of course.
It helps a lot. It helps a lot.
Yeah, man. Time saver. Time saver.
Okay, Sabrina, you have your hand up. That will be the last question.
Right. So good evening. I am in 2 different lines of business. I run a skincare company in Jamaica, and I'm also in project management. I think maybe I'm somewhat of a lagger because I've heard about ChatGPT for a while and I've never actually used it. But now that you say I can get proposals from it, because I'm looking to consult full-time in project management. So outside of like the proposals, is there what else can it do for me? I mean, is it just any one of the tools that I can use in terms of how we can, revolutionize the business? I was in awe for a while, so the question wasn't coming to me.
Do you have a
But just
website?
any advice where that is.
Do you
I
have a
do not
website?
currently have a website. No.
Okay. All right. Because what I was going to do a while ago, I was going to show you that I'm going to go to your website and I'm going to ask ChatGPT to write a bio on your website. And I was going to show you on the screen how easy it is. Right?
Oh my.
Right. All right. So, okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen one last minute and I'm going to show you a prompt that I wrote earlier. And then I'm going to show you the diagram that came out. Right? There's some information. Where is my share? Go back and share the screen and share screen 2, right? And it should tell me right now when it is. Oh, no, I don't press the share button yet. I press the share button. And so you should be seeing the screen like right now, right? You see the diagram right there?
Yes, we're seeing it.
Good. Let me see if I can magnify. The prompt I wrote, please create this visual, an image of a diverse group of people using technology representing an integration of AI in everyday life. And that's the image it created in 30 seconds. Right?
Wow.
Right? All right. I'm going to show you now. I'm going to show you that I used it. I used the technology to cheat to start preparing this presentation. But it's not cheating, because this is now the tools we use, and I'm going to go straight to the top of the chat, and I'm going to show you that when I got the invitation. So here's what I do. I'm going to just tell you a process that I do. Once I get a letter or an invitation from a company to come and speak, I put that invitation in there. Now look what. Okay, everybody can see my prompt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So this is what I wrote. The Kiwanis Club of Kingston has invited me to do a 30-minute presentation to the club members.
Yeah.
This is the message that I received from them. And I cut and paste the message that he knows who sent it to me, right? I want your presentation to cover the extent to which AI is doing da. So I put that in. And within a microsecond, for your presentation to the Kiwanis Club of Jamaica, you can structure it for its use. And then it did all of this.
I hope you didn't pay him to do this presentation.
Right? But guess what?
Hope we're not paying him.
But guess what? I didn't use any of this at all. But
Right.
what I do it at first. I did this up. Is the date on it? Let me see. I did this like a week ago, you know. I did this about a week ago. I looked at it and I said, nah, I'm not using none of this. Nah, I'm not using none of this. But it gave me lots of things, right? But
Yes.
so
That's structure.
there's
And
interesting.
structure.
You said that don't pay me. Why? I know the tool. I know what tools to use to do the job. By the way, has anybody ever seen that joke where the production plant stopped working and they call the man to come in and he walks around the whole plant and then he takes out a hammer and just does a tap and send a $10,000 bill US? You ever seen that joke? And the people right back and start complaining and they say why? They say $1 for the tap, right? $999 to know where to tap.
Right.
So just remember that, okay?
Yes.
So yes. So guess what I also did? Look what I also did. Because I have the paid version, I uploaded the UNESCO's Caribbean AI Policy Roadmap, attaches some research that was done using AI. What are the main points that I should extract and use in my talk? And it pulled it out, and it added in percentages and numbers and all of that. I didn't bother using any of this. I'm going to use some of it tomorrow in my talk tomorrow. But I'm just telling you. So I even also said the title of, because then I decided what the title of the talk was. The title of my talk is now Your World, Your Business, Your Life, Reimagined. Please consolidate all of your recommendations from above into one thing there. Bam. And then it created it. So I'm just saying, I did this a couple of weeks ago. And half of this I didn't use because I decided to change but I already had something in my mind that it helped me put together. And I'll also show you that. By the way, I respond to it, like I'm talking to somebody. Excellent. I love it. Thank you very much. And by the way, you don't have to worry about capital or comma or full stop. Yeah, I'm no business about that. It understands exactly what you're talking about, right? No, I did not use a statement at all. But look what I said. Please prepare an opening statement, right? Now,
wow.
Good evening, gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to speak with members of the club. We live in a time of extraordinary change, one where technology is not just advancing, but transforming our fabric. Artificial intelligence, I didn't use any of it. But if I had used it, you would have think that would be most amazing. But this is what the tool does for you.
We don't have to go to school anymore.
Is this Chat GPT or OpenAI the paid one? Is that what you? Which one you're talking?
This is.
Or it's some other one.
It's one and the same. This is OpenAI's Chat GPT, right?
Oh, okay.
OpenAI is the manufacturer. Chat GPT is the product.
President Newton.
Okay.
President Newton, may I ask you, could you get Christopher to come back, sir, for another meeting where we just talk more about AI?
The next time.
Don't worry about it. President designate Steve has his address.
Steve is a friend from a long time, man. Don't worry. Good. Anyway, folks, I gotta go.
Wonderful. Fabulous presentation.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
guys.
one thing though, we have to do a vote of thanks. I'm gonna let's ask DP Rupert to do the vote. I know you have to run, but we gotta do the vote of thanks, please. Rupert. Your mic, you're on mute. You're muted.
All right, let me go again.
Okay.
I was saying, Sir Chris, because boy, you really need a knighthood from I don't know if it's the king or the great men of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, but boy, you really had us with our mouths open wide tonight for drinking in all the knowledge and information that you have given. I know you're really an expert on this thing, and for most of us who have been reading about it, it really takes on a little bit of life tonight. Just want to firstly thank the Lord for the wonderful specimen of gray matter between your ears, sir. And thank you for using your wonderful method of communicating with us about artificial intelligence. And I know, as your motto says, technology converts scarcity into abundance. I know that many of us will experience that as we go forward. You have provided us with information. You have explained to us. You have even given us references. And we thank you for that. So on behalf of all our members and friends and other Kiwanians and guests who are online, we just want to say thanks. And the Kiwanis Club of Kingston has a very special certificate of appreciation for you, sir. We're going to get it to you. It's in recognition of your contribution to this special meeting. And I'm going to extend to you 2 invitations, not only to come back, that's one, but the Kiwanis Club of Kingston, we are looking for good men. And we're inviting you to join us, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your invitation. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy preparing for it also. Thank you very much.
Thank you again. Thank you again. Okay.
All right, folks. Have a fantastic rest of the evening.
Yes. Back to you,
Thank you, sir. I must say, I am happy to know that people like you are advising our leaders. I feel much better.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your positive remarks.
Okay, great.
Everyone have a fantastic rest of the evening.
Okay, thank you. All right. Chairman Zuri or Sarge, it is your turn now, sir, to do your thing. I'm sure after such a presentation this evening, you're going to be in full form. Chairman Zuri?
I don't think he's on. He's on, President. You may just have to do.
Okay. Well, since Chairman Zuri isn't on, I'm going to use artificial intelligence and just say to each member of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston that you need to donate $500 to the coffers of the club for tonight. No one who heard such a presentation could think that $500 is too much. If you want to make it $1,000, please go ahead. We'll welcome it. All right. At this point, we are going to move on to notices and announcements with DLG Willie.
Thank you, President Newton. I'll be very short. Insofar as notices and announcements, we have three events coming up. First one is the Divisional Council meeting. This is the fourth quarter DCM at Casa Lagoon in St. Thomas. This is on Sunday, September 15th. Registration starts at 9 a.m. You can go on to into your email and you can register. The cost is $1,500 that includes lunch. Just a note on the two major installations that affect us. There's a joint changing of the guard for Division 23 East and 23 Central that has been held at the top of the town, Jamaica Pegasus Hotel, on Sunday, September 29th. That's 3 o'clock. I believe the cost is $6,500. And closer to home, this year we're doing a joint installation with Young Professionals, South St. Andrew, 23 Central Surrey Online, and Nation Builders. That is on Saturday, October the 5th at 4 p.m. at Police Officers Club, cost $3,000. So Kiwanis, members of the club, please note those dates, and certainly we want to see you at a joint installation. Thank you, President. You may ask anybody visiting if they have any announcement.
Okay, as DLG Willie just said, if there's any other club online with any announcement, please go ahead and do that now.
Okay, good afternoon, President Newton. This is President Clover from the Kiwanis Club of Capital City again.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm inviting you all to our induction ceremony tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. at BJLC. It's also hybrid. It says online, and we will induct in 6 new members. So I want you to come out and to show them the Kiwanis synergy. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, President Clover. Any other announcements? Okay. So we're gonna at this point ask DP Marcel to bring us the thought for the week.
I don't believe he's here either.
DP Marcel isn't here. If we had known, we would have used some artificial intelligence to replace him. But anyway, next time we'll be prepared for him. All right, it has been a long but productive evening. I'm pretty sure we all learned a whole lot, and I'm pretty sure even more so, a lot of us are going to go out and try some things. I know I am going to. So at this point, I'm just going to invite everyone to raise their glass, real or imaginary, and let's raise a toast to Kiwanis International, Jamaica, land we love. It is now, right. It is now 8:53, and this beautiful meeting of the Kiwanis Club of Kingston is now terminated. I want to remind everyone that this evening's presentation is on our YouTube channel, so you can go again, listen to it, because I know some of us missed some of the points, as is all our other programs. And I just wish everyone safe journey home, those who are on the road, and those who are at home. Just everyone, please remember, join us again next week, Tuesday, same time, 7 p.m. Good night, everyone.
And I'd like to encourage members to those online now to subscribe to the channel. That way you can get to know when we put up anything and so on. But just subscribe. Thank you. I won't be playing any music tonight because I want to catch the rest of the debate.
Well, I'll be running myself DPs too, because I locked myself out my office. So for the entire meeting, I've had to be in my car on my phone. So I might as well head back home. All right, everyone. Thank you. All right, and thanks again, DPs too. Thanks, Speedy Stephen. Really good evening.
Okay.
Okay, great.
No problem, President. No problem.
All right, great.